Grassroots Jeep Club. Soon after that, we were at a meeting and just trying to figure out a way to bring different Jeep clubs and things like that together to all get to know each other. The original plan was to keep, New Jersey clubs together. So in November of 2009, we had our first Jeeps in the Vineyard. We had 68 Jeeps, a food vendor, and about 15 sponsors for the show. It's grown ever since. The first year we outgrew the first vineyard and we moved here to Valenzano.
We have been a licensed winery since 1996. This is our 17th year of being a licensed winery. We started off in Tony Valenzano's senior's garage, outgrew that, went to our festival, what is now our Festival Grounds on Old Indian Mills Road, which is where we hold the Jeeps venue, our Jeeps event. And then in 2010 we moved here to Route 206, to our ballroom. And we just started using that for weddings and parties and things like that. Festivals, our wine fest is held there every year, which brings about 10,000 people. So Jeep's is a little bit smaller than that, but it's still a really good time.
It's continued to grow to this year, 2013, our 5th annual, where we have about 260 Jeeps, about 27 sponsors, 15 different vendors.
I heightened the body 2 inches. I lowered the chassis 3 inches, just with a lift kit, that was all. And then we got a set of tires for it. Then the tires wouldn't keep up with the rear, blew the rear out. So then we put another rear into it. Then we started breaking axles, and I had a 350 in it. I blew that engine with 1,200 miles on it right out the side, an engine that we had built. And then from there we decided to start all over again. So I had a 383 from an old race car that a friend of mine built for me. And then me and 2 other guys that work with us, we went ahead and did the whole body. It's a Viper paint job. The interior's been all done. It's basically done again from bottom up. It's got digital gauges in it. It's got a Curry rear end in it, titanium rear end in it. It's got an R700 Chevy transmission in it. And it'll sit there and you can go down 295 and break the wheels loose doing 50 mile an hour.
It's an 84 Jeep J10. I bought it a little less than a year ago. And this is pretty much the condition that, that I purchased it in. The previous owner was a boat tech teacher, and so his students painted the Jeep. Basically, it looked like a honcho, a winch bumper and a 9,000-pound winch. That was off of my Wagoneer, which I owned previous to this. The suspension has a little bit of a story behind it. The Jeep originally had a snowplow prep package, which was dealer installed, at least as best as I could tell by the stickers on it. So the suspension was beefed up. That's why it sits a little bit higher than a regular J10. I got this Jeep in Pennsylvania. A friend of mine, actually my neighbor, a friend of his, had it for sale. I live up in New York, but I usually come to New Jersey. I belong to the Mid-Atlantic Full-Size Jeep Club. We have a couple events a year I usually come down for. So it's an AMC 360, the original motor, and has a performance cam and a Holley carburetor. That was the previous owner had that put on, and it gives it a lot more power off the line.
The actual Jeepsters started from 48 to 51. I believe there was a gap after 51 until the Jeepster Commandos came out. The Jeepster actually came about after World War II. The thinking was that servicemen coming home from the war, the Jeep got them across Europe. They'd love to have something as durable. Well, they came back and all the GM cars, your GM had chrome and flash and everything else with it. The last thing they wanted to see was another Jeep. So they bought Chrysler, GM, all the different cars that were being manufactured, and the Jeepster got bypassed. So they were on some estate wagons, some ranches, that kind of thing. But it was they came in 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, 3-speed, and 3-speed with overdrive. This one had a 6-cylinder flathead, 3-speed overdrive. We've updated it to a 327 with an automatic and a Cougar rear end. So Cougar rear end bolted right up. The other things that we modernized, we got rid of the front seats, which were a 60/40 seat with the fold-up jump seat. It's got 2006 Sierra GMC power seats. What I needed was something with a built-in seat belt, since it is convertible. I didn't really want to put a roll bar in there, but with the seat belts built into the seat itself, it works out really well. Custom paint, we put on a dulling agent, so we didn't want it too flashy. So the reason I picked it up, we picked it up in California when we were living in California, my wife and I. And when she met me, I had old cars, and she said, I didn't like your old cars. She had a Jeep at the time, so I started looking around. I said, what do you like? And she says, convertibles. And being from Jersey originally, nobody buys convertibles back here because they leak when it rains and they're cold during the winter. So I went and saw Jeepster in the paper for sale, went and took a look at it and never saw one before, and I said, this is it. So it matched the model cars that she had, which was a Jeep. She had Jeep Cherokee, and gave it to her as a wedding present.
Will be scene B2, take one, Mark.